for March 10th, or correction, March 13th to order. Everyone? Do we have any special intentions? Chief?
Thank you. I like to ask for your prayers for the New Orleans Fire Department, who lost 3 members within the last month, all active duty members. 2 were line of duty deaths, John Blackwell and Michael Wednesday. And early this morning, Dwayne Jackson was killed in an automobile accident on I-10. So I ask for your prayers for the New Orleans Fire Department, the fire service as a whole, and the families of those members and their loved ones. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Ronnie. Yeah, don't forget to keep the Wilson family in your prayers. They will be eulogizing Caleb on Saturday.
We'll lead us into prayer. Me? Oh, no, it didn't.
Father, in the name of Jesus, dear Master, as we come together once again this hour in the evening, we just want to tell you thank you for all the blessings that you have bestowed upon us. Lord, you heard the request tonight about the firefighters that lost their lives. I pray, dear God, that you would be with the family, that you would console them, console everyone that's around them, even the firefighters that they work with. I pray for their children, for their spouses, and for their relatives. I pray right now for the city of Kenner, that you will keep us, dear God, as you have already, my Father. We know we are expecting bad weather on Saturday, but God, we're just asking for divine protection upon this city and upon others that's around us. But I pray as we get into the business of handling the business of the city of Kenner, that you would be with us, that you would minister to us, and let us make the right decisions. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Councilman Brannigan, please lead us into the pledge. Madam Clerk?
We have a quorum this evening. In accordance with Council Resolution Number B14550, please be advised that all cellular telephones and other devices of this nature must be deactivated or silenced throughout the council meeting. Next, we have correspondence reports from the mayor, CAO, or department heads.
All right, just waiting for you. I like your new attire, buddy. No, look, got the shirt open, stuff hanging on the back of his chair. This is good stuff here.
Very casual today, okay?
Good stuff. And apparently I have the chair that doesn't stop sinking, so thank you all up here that gave me the chair. All right, some people in the past have asked about emergency proclamations. The Hurricane Francine emergency proclamation expired, I think, on the 9th. It won't be extended. The winter storm emergency proclamation expires on the 19th. It won't be extended. And some brief updates on some some of our projects here. On March 6th, notice to proceed was issued on the design and plans for the Kenner Levee Trailhead expansion here at LaSalle Landing in Rivertown. So that's well on its way now. Bainbridge is a large project that is funded coming through the parish from Veterans to the East Airport entrance, or their service entrance. It will begin in the near future, which is going to be very, I guess, problematic for the businesses on Bainbridge, because there's going to be a large construction zone for probably 2 years. It's going to work includes new concrete street panels, canal stabilization, utilizing steel sheet piles, water line relocations, some drainage improvements, and a new sewer lift station in the, I guess, westbound Veterans to turn on southbound Bainbridge. That turning lane is going to be lengthened, which they call, it's going to, the storage length of the westbound Veterans turn lane will be lengthened. The Roosevelt Boulevard reconstruction, which is direly needed, is May this year. Jose, we're still on. I think the state's finally awarded the project for, and will hopefully in May they bid it out for the construction. Another long project that's long overdue is the Kenner Discovery School sidewalk project, was bid by DOTD, and hopefully we'll get it done sometime in the next, Jose's going to tell me federal money is time, but this summer. So in response to Councilman Wilmot's questions last meeting, Elizabeth Herring will give you an update on City Hall, if I don't fall into the floor here.
Sinking away.
And that's it for me.
So just to touch on Annex Building A and B, I know I wasn't here last meeting, and a question came up just to give a status update. Y'all received notice that, and obviously saw, buildings A and B were demolished. Currently, Annex A and B are being pursued with FEMA as an alternate project with FEMA. We're going to the 428 specialized program, so that allows us to do an alternate type of project where we can decide, do we want to do one building? Do we want to do two buildings? We need to build in some code upgrades, make it a little stronger. So that's the route we were going down. Meyer Engineer did the damage assessments, and FEMA has something that they call a 50% rule. So the 50% rule means that it costs, if it costs 50% more to repair than to just replace, then you can do the replacement value. So instead of us just going in and repairing a building that should not be repaired, they agreed that it was over the 50%. So we met that requirement. The next step is obviously to just go through the formal chain of approvals. So right now, both Annex A and Annex B are in EHP review. So it's a historic type of building. It's been around, so they have to contact the state, make sure they're good with it. I met with them last Thursday, and EHP doesn't see any issues. They did state, obviously, when we're ready to build, they have to be heavily involved before we break ground or anything like that. So the city did award a design engineer, Meyer Engineers, to design the building. We have a preliminary kickoff meeting with them scheduled on the 24th. So, you know, it's gonna be a long process. Even once FEMA makes its way through all the approvals, we will be working closely with them, with Meyer, to come up with a cost. So once that cost is agreed upon, that is the cost. So the difference between an alternate project and just a normal public assistant project is normal PA projects can be versioned. So you can, if something comes up and you need to add additional scope or you might have missed something, you can version a project to get more funding. With an alternate, it is a one chance. You give them a number, and that is the number. They're not going to increase that number ever. So we have to make sure it's a good number. So we have a lot of professionals. Meyer has a lot of good subs that are very familiar with the FEMA process. A lot of them used to work for FEMA and used to work for GOSEP. So I'm really confident that we're going to get to a good number. The administration plans to host many town hall meetings to get the community's involvement. You know, we realize it's a public building, and we definitely want their input on this. So right now, we're still kickoff meeting with our engineer, and you know, we'll continue to provide information as it comes up. And the litigation is still ongoing, so that obviously plays a big role in where we're going to end up and where FEMA's going to land as well, but we cannot continue waiting, so we're just moving along as we can.
Councilman Wilmot.
Yeah, I was just curious. I understand the process, and it's very technical in nature, as you just went through. Thank you for that. But I do want to know, too, as far as any funding that we currently have towards any of these
So there's
projects.
FEMA is a reimbursement program, so you have to spend money, and then you have to submit your expenses to them and draw down that money. We did get the insurance money that we got a long time ago. We haven't received anything new from when the last administration was here, but none of that has been allocated. So there's nothing set in stone for buildings A and B. We know what the damages costs are, and that's what we submitted for FEMA. So, I have a dollar amount that we thought. I don't really want to say it because it's not been agreed upon. And then obviously we have to see what our insurance carrier pays, because that will be reduced with what FEMA gives us.
That was for buildings A and B, correct?
Correct.
What about the other buildings
Yeah,
throughout the city?
every single building we're in litigation with. We have not received any additional funds from when the last update was. We have received some FEMA funds that once we find out what insurance gives us, we may have to send that money back. So, because we can't double dip. So FEMA reduced some of our claims with what they think the insurance will give us, but we just won't know. Until we settle this lawsuit and I get allocations from our insurance carrier saying we gave you this money for this building, I'm not gonna have any type of final number for you.
But the monies that we already received, that those monies are reserved in a specific designated
Fund.
account fund?
Yes.
That it can only be used?
Every expense that took place for Ida is in a separate fund, and every penny received is in a separate fund. We expended a lot of money for Category B work. Emergency work was expended, and some of that was not reimbursed and will not be reimbursed, so the city will have to absorb that. So we're not at the final stages of things being completely denied, so I don't really want to say,
But the funds that we currently have and collected so far, that's in a specific fund?
Yes.
And that's going to be before that, those funds would be expended, the request would come before this body?
Yeah, anything over $5,000 will come before this body, yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that answers my questions, and I know you have some other information you'll be giving us in the future, and we'll be doing town halls throughout the city down the road. So, yeah, very good. Thank you.
Councilman Brannigan wanted to speak as well.
Yeah, I was just happy to hear that they were able to salvage the old elevator that was in the building, so we can reuse that lovely piece of equipment.
Do we have a time frame on when we're going to have these public meetings?
No, we have a kickoff meeting with the engineer on the 24th, so that's the only date I have for you.
So it's to be a.
Yeah,
to be
there's a
announced.
lot. We haven't even had our first conversation with the contractor, the engineering firm, on kind of what he knows Meyer has been with us with the damage assessments, which is a big plus. He's been actively working with FEMA. They know him. They have the relationship with them. So, I think it'll be a great working relationship through this whole thing. But we really, all of us haven't sat down together in the room with them to say kind of what our thoughts are, and then we'll schedule out, what those meetings look like.
Because some people have asked about the public meetings, because
Yeah.
we stated, but when? And I said,
Yeah,
we're not even close to even having a date for
no,
that
we're
yet.
gonna put that information out like they normally do.
It's going to be at least 6 months to 9 months before we would have something to show to the general public, at least 9 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
So early
that's
next year-ish,
yearish.
Yeah, next year.
That'd be fine. Thank you.
Councilman
Anyone
McKinney
else?
wants to speak.
Yes, I know you probably don't even, as we were discussing, I'm just saying like a time frame, not a time frame like 3 years, 4 years, 10 years, like very rough. What are you thinking about? Liz,
That's a Jose question.
or a Jose question?
That's a very difficult question to answer because the estimated cost of the project, current estimated cost of the project, is roughly $30 million. We don't have the $30 million, so we're going to be applying for state and federal money. So depending on how successful we are in receiving state and federal money, that's going to dictate when we can proceed with construction. But we're looking at an estimated cost right now, today's dollars, around $30 million.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, did you want to speak?
Councilman Hat? Oh,
Same topic. As it relates to the ongoing litigation, it might be a good time. I'm going to probably move soon for an EC just to find the current status. I know you want to talk about it in the open based on, confidentiality issues, but I'll probably move for that soon just to get an update as to what's going on with the arbitration proceeding.
Well, the arbitration proceeding's set for next year. There's a hearing, but we're trying to get, with the new Supreme Court ruling, we're trying to see if we can bring some of it back to Louisiana.
Yeah, I'm
That way we
aware
can
of that.
follow Louisiana law and bad faith and make all those claims. So we filed that motion. It hasn't been set for a hearing yet. We're waiting for a hearing date. So just,
Perfect.
that's all we got.
You already answered the question.
That's
I'm
what
not
I
going to
need
do it
know?
anymore
Good.
now.
All right. That's it.
Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
Council, look, with the City Hall, a couple of months ago, Jose sent out, we met with all the directors about what do they need in an office space, square footage, things like that. So it's not like we're sitting around waiting for monies to come in. We kind of know what the city departments require. Do you want to put, you want to put your offices somewhere close to the council chambers and things like that. But as we meet with in 2 weeks, the design consultant, then we'll come back to y'all and see exactly what, the look you want. There's a lot of new buildings, public buildings that are being built. There's one in Louisiana that I know Jose kind of likes because he keeps mentioning it, but ours has to be a little bit larger than that one, so. But we'll see. Like I said, we're starting the process. It took this long just to get these buildings torn down. So, look, I wasn't here. We inherited this stuff, and it's a nightmare. I shouldn't be saying a lot of stuff because in this arbitration, they repeat everything I say in a council meeting. So, that's kind of the hang-ups, so, with what we inherited.
By the way, the kickoff meeting that we're going to be having with the selected architects scheduled for Monday, the 24th, in Building D, in the auditorium. Y'all are welcome to come. We're going to talk about the project in general as to what needs to be done and, maybe dictate some of the scope of work, design criteria, listen to them. So it may be an interesting meeting if you are available. Y'all are welcome to attend. 10 a.m. on the 24th, Building D.
thank you, everyone. Clerk?
Yes, sir. Do we have any resolutions, motions, or other items from the floor? Seeing none, under the consent agenda, I have item 1, approval of the minutes, the regular council meeting of February 21st, 2025. Item 2 is approval of alcoholic beverage permit applications. We have none. Item 3 is approval of bingo and public gathering applications. Item 3A is application 2448-25, City of Kenner Parks and Recreation, to hold a public gathering on March 29, 2025, from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. for the purpose of a movie night at Musbertolino. Item 3B is application 2449-25, Kenner Central Lions Club, to hold a public gathering on April 18th, May 16th, June 20th, July 18th, August 15th, September 19th, and October 17th of 2025 from 5:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. for the purpose of a cruise night at Lake Town. Item 3C is application number 2552-25, Custom Cruisers, to hold a public gathering on the 4th Saturday of each month from March 2025 through September 2025 for the purpose of a car show at the Esplanade Mall. That will conclude the consent agenda. I have a motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan. All council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item under the public appearance agenda, we have item 8, public hearings and final passage. Item 8A is a public hearing regarding summary ordinance number 13,740, an ordinance authorizing a public hearing and approving the proposed section 108 application in the amount of $80,445 to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development for the reconstruction of the Arthur P. Clay Resource Center for the Community Development Department. I have a motion by Councilmember Dunn, seconded by Councilmember McKinney to open your public hearing. All council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. We're now in a public hearing. I believe we have a presentation by the Community Development Department, and after that, anybody in the public wishing to address can come forward.
Ms. Shaw.
Hi, council members. This is an application for Section 108 funds. Section 108 is grant funding from HUD. Well, it's a loan funding from HUD, which is different from our grant funding. With this, it's a low-interest loan that you pay back over 20 years. This is not the first time that the City of Kenner has requested a Section 108 loan. We've had 2 previous Section 108 loans in the past that we've taken for those projects that exceed our current allocation, annual allocation of funding. We had our Arthur P. Clay Resource Center that we used in the past. In May of 2021, there was an errant tornado that hit the building and put a hole in the roof. We had our polling site there, as well as our Jefferson Parish leased a space for Head Start. We did remediation to the building with a temporary roof. Of course, Ida hit. And so it tore off the roof of the building with no mitigation to the building. The building is now deemed unusable. The engineer has declared that it would take more than 50% to repair the building, so the recommendation is to demolish the building and reconstruct it. The project that we're applying to HUD for would be a $4.4 million new building, which would encompass working with Inclusive Care. Inclusive Care provides health care to those who are uninsured, and it offers low-cost insurance. They would be offering at that building a pharmacy, medical, dental, and behavioral health services. We would also have a community room there, so we can go back to having our polling place there. So it would still be a public building. However, they would be paying rent just like we had Jefferson Parish paying rent through our Head Start program. The reason that we're doing a medical center is because the City of Kenner is medical desert, in the South Kenner especially. 10% of our residents in Kenner don't have health insurance. The providers are not as plenty. There are 12,000 people to one provider in the City of Kenner. So anytime that we can introduce new health care, it's a plus. Also, in the area that we're proposing, the census tracts, to give you an example, most of the area faces disproportionate rates of diabetes and coronary heart disease, as well as low life expectancy. For the area we're in now, there are 88% of the adults have asthma, 95% are diagnosed with diabetes, 84% have coronary heart disease, and the low life expectancy is 94%. So there's a need for health care. Also, annually we do surveys of the community, and health care was one of the things that was chosen. Also, in our consolidated plan that we brought before you in 2023, we did at that point anticipate that we would need a Section 108 loan to carry out this project. So that's already was in and advertised to the community. So we are here, and the $2 million that we're asking for will go with additional funding through Jefferson Parish with their application to the state for the hometown revitalization, the same funding that's going to be for the Lake Town project. This is additional funding that will be, they're also giving us funding for this project. Also, we'll be using our insurance proceeds because we have to use that first, and then we'll also be using some prior CDBG funding. So that's how we get to the $4.4 million. However, we are seeking additional funding. So we're hoping to have more funding just to have that flexibility in place. Also, we won't be paying back this because we are entering into a lease with Inclusive Care. They will be paying rent, and any shortage of the rent would come from our CDBG allocation, so there's no funding that will be leaving the general fund to pay the loan back. are there any questions?
Fantastic.
Just,
Oh, Ms. D?
yeah, just one question, because I know everybody want to know, you know, I know the first thing you have to do is demolish.
Yes.
So I know you mentioned it in the meeting, but can you let everyone know when we can start?
Yes, we have given a
demolition?
notice to proceed. Unfortunately, we received notice from the Corps of Engineer because of the proximity to the toe of the levee. We cannot demolish at this time until the river is under 11 feet. I watch it every day. I think today was 11.39. It's trending downward. They anticipate by March 23rd, we will be under 11 feet. The contractor, Pipeworks, is going to be placing the fencing around there because they want to be ready and staged and ready. So if ever we get to that point, Councilwoman, we can go ahead and demolish before the river does anything else.
Thank you so much,
No
Michelle.
problem.
I appreciate it.
Yes, Councilman Wilmot?
Yeah, I'd just like to compliment you. Every time you come up here, you come up with ideas and ways that you propose to us, and you're showing ways that we're actually getting funds to help out the city of Kenner.
Yes.
This is a major project.
Yes, this will be a major project in Councilwoman's district. It'll be a new building in that area. We haven't had new development in a long time, so this is going to be welcome for the community. And also, we get to honor, we don't want the memory of Arthur P. Clay to go. He was like the Kenner's Martin Luther King, so we want to make sure that and his family is in favor of this project.
And this project's going to be, primarily, is going to be a healthcare.
It's going to be health care, yes.
Perfect. Great location, great use for the property. So thank you for all your hard work.
Yes.
Yes, I just want to thank you also, piggyback off here. We really appreciate the work that you put into the projects that you're doing in South Kenner. It's, thank you.
Thank you for your support also,
Okay,
Councilwoman.
thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the council on this matter? Please come forward. Seeing none, I have a motion by Councilmember Dunn, seconded by Councilmember McKinney to close the public hearing. All council members in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Have a motion by Councilmember Dunn, seconded by Councilmember McKinney for approval. All council members in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 9 is ordinances for the sale, purchase, transfer, lease, and/or alienation of immovable property. Item 9A is a public hearing regarding summary ordinance number 13,739, an ordinance approving the lease of a portion of Lot W3, Square F, Kenner Orleans subdivision, Kenner Jefferson Parish, Louisiana, more specifically the property at 402 Williams Boulevard, which said property is owned by the city of Kenner. I have a motion by Councilmember Dunn, seconded by Councilmember Brennan, to open the public hearing. All council members in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. We have a presentation by the Planning Department, and after that, the public will be invited to speak if they'd like to.
Good evening. This is planning case P225, alienation of city property. The applicant is Flying Dollies Kenner 1 LLC of 841 Lamarck Street, Mandeville, Louisiana. This is to lease a portion of Lot W, Square F, also known as Plot H, Kenner Orleans subdivision, having municipal address 402 Williams Boulevard. You probably recognize the building as the former location of the Tin Roof Boutique. The portion of Lot W being leased measures approximately 45 feet by 72.3 feet and covers approximately 3,330 square feet. The subject property is located within the commercial core of the historic district and is zoned Rivertown Historic District. The applicants appeared before the Historic District Design Committee this past Tuesday, and their plans were all approved. On January 15th, 2025, Murphy Appraisal Services performed an appraisal estimating the fair market lease rate of the property at $1,728 per month, and the applicant has agreed to lease the property from the city at that value. The applicant proposes to lease the property in order to open a location of Flying Dollies, which specializes in the sale of ice cream, cookies, and snowballs. This case was heard on February 26th by the Planning and Zoning Commission, and they recommended approval. Are there any questions?
Councilman Wilmot.
Yeah, what's the duration of the lease?
I believe it's 3 years with some options beyond that.
So it's a 3-year term?
That's
that
the
what-
initial term, and then there are options for renewal, but I don't know that part of it.
Okay, because I don't see it in here either, the supporting paperwork, but that's, I presume it's 3 years with options. We don't know the options, though.
I do not, I'm sorry.
It has it in the term. It says initial term of the lease shall be for a 3-year period and shall automatically renew for 4 5-year terms. And then we can terminate, in writing before that.
You see it on the supporting paperwork?
Yeah.
Yes.
Page 97.
Okay, great, thank you. And it's for, again, repeat the options, you said 4 or 5
Shall
years?
automatically renew for 4 5-year terms.
Okay, all right, just want to make sure we know what we're voting on. Thank you both, thank you.
Councilman Lahat?
No, me.
Ms. D?
Only one question I have on this. There's no way that this building will be sold in the lease process, because I know Kenner owned it. Okay, I just want to make sure.
No, it's just them leasing a piece of city property.
Okay.
And if you want to hear from the owners or have any questions for them, they're sitting in the audience. So,
Counsel, please.
Yes, sir.
How long's the building been vacant?
2 and, yeah,
Okay, and how soon will they be hopefully open?
I believe they want to open as soon as humanly possible. They're shooting to at least
to preliminarily be open for the Italian festival at the end of this month. So we've been working with them to get as much done, at least being able to sample the products, which is incredibly important.
That they brought to this meeting for us to sample, correct?
I'm not sure.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe next time.
Thank you, Ms. Fallot. Thank you, Council Chair.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Seeing no further discussion, I have a motion by Councilmember Dunn, seconded by Councilmember Brennan, to close the public hearing. All council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. I have a motion by Councilmember Dunn, seconded by Councilmember Brennan, to approve. All council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 10 is opening of bids. We have none. Item 11 is reclassification of zoning for final passage. We have none. Item 12 is other ordinances for final passage. We have none. Item 13 is resolutions and motions by council members. Item 13A is a resolution requesting congressionally directed spending for the urgent needs of the Kenner Sewer Treatment Plant. I have a motion by Councilmember Brannigan, seconded by Councilmember Lahat. Seeing no discussion, council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 14 is items removed from the consent agenda. We have none. Item 15 is acceptance of contracts and similar matters approved by the mayor. Item 15A is summary ordinance number 13,741, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of 6 Applied Information Field Monitoring Unit, FMU, preempt priority systems from Temple Incorporated in the amount of $36,786 for the Kenner Fire Department. Have a motion by Councilmember Sharwood, seconded by Councilmember Brennan. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Dunn?
Yeah, I just want to ask the chief, because I did read the contract, what does these monitors do on Williams?
These monitors allow us, when we're responding to emergencies, once we flip the emergency switch on, it turns all the traffic lights green
traffic
for us to reduce response times to down Williams. If you've ever been down Williams lately, you know it's a nightmare. So it's one of those systems that allow us to have all the traffic lights on our path of travel to turn green for us.
Okay, all right, thanks.
And trust me, council, friends, lights and sirens don't mean anything to the public out there. They do not give the emergency vehicles any type of right-of-way. And hopefully, with these preempted switch is put in, that fire trucks and all emergency vehicles, they'll get a chance in, lessen the response time.
Yes.
Remember, the quicker the truck gets there, quicker the fire goes out. Thank you, Chief.
Seeing no further discussion, all council members.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
On that, to that point, Chief Conley, is there anything that KPD maybe,
Yeah, it's something we're going to look into, absolutely.
okay. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Seeing no further discussion, all council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15B is summary ordinance number 13,742, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of 552 DARE T-shirts, including shipping, at a cost of $4,451.20 from Creative Product Sourcing Incorporated, a sole source provider for the Kenner Police Department. I have a motion by Councilmember McKinney, seconded by Councilmember Brennan. All council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15C is summary ordinance number 13,743, an ordinance approving amendment number 1 to the agreement with Beverly Construction Company, LLC, to supply batcher, dirt, and sand, increasing the agreement by $300,000 for a new not-to-exceed amount of $400,000 annually for the Department of Public Works. I have a motion by Councilmember Brannigan, seconded by Councilmember Sharwood. All council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15D is summary ordinance number 13,744, an ordinance approving an agreement with Linfield, Hunter and Junius Incorporated for professional engineering services on an as-needed basis in an amount not to exceed $75,000 for the Department of Public Works. I have a motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. All council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15E is summary ordinance number 13,745, an ordinance ratifying the emergency rental of one Baldor 500 kW generator for the 35th and Ole Miss Lift Station by Arco Company Services Incorporated in the amount of $32,500 for the wastewater department. I have a motion by Councilmember Brennan, seconded by Councilmember Wilmot. All council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Sorry, Councilmember Wilmot, go ahead.
Thank you. I just had a question on this one, if we have anybody from wastewater.
Yes, sir?
Just if you can give an explanation as to why we're renting and not buying.
We were renting it at the time because we have a permanent generator there and it needed to be repaired. And this is one of, this 35th and Ole Miss lift station is like a transfer station. It doesn't have its own sub-basin, but it has about 9 upstream lift stations that discharge to it. So within about 15 minutes of losing power, it's going to be all, West Esplanade will be flooded with sewage and the side streets.
So it's your desire to rent and not buy?
No, we are looking into buying it now.
Oh, you
At
are?
that time, at that point when they had to repair it, we can't go without a generator there. We
Gotcha.
looked at renting a bypass pump, but it wouldn't be a big enough pump. The station has 4 pumps.
So this is a temporary until we can get a new one?
That's correct, sir.
Thank you. That's
You're
what I need to know. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Councilwoman McKinney?
Yeah, I just have one more quick question. So has it already been returned or is it still rented at this point?
It's been returned.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay.
All council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15F is summary ordinance number 13,746, an ordinance ratifying an emergency repair of the odor control unit at the 39th and Arkansas Sewer Lift Station plant by Jones Bell LLC, doing business as ECS Environmental Solutions, and in the amount of $6,927 for the wastewater department. I have a motion by Councilmember Lahat, seconded by Councilmember Sharwood. Seeing no discussion, council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15G is summary ordinance number 13,747, an ordinance ratifying an emergency repair of the ball door digester aerator 4A and 4B located at the wastewater treatment plant by Precision PSI LLC, a sole source provider, in the amount of $18,491.24 for the wastewater department. Have a motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember Brennan. Seeing no discussion, all council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15H is summary ordinance number 13,748. An ordinance approving the use of a state contract for the purchase of bleachers at the Musperlino Stadium. I have a motion by Councilmember Brannigan, seconded by Councilmember Lahat for a 2-meeting deferral. Is there any discussion on deferral? Seeing none, all council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 16 is ordinances and resolutions in summary for first reading. Item 16A is an ordinance approving the sale of an approximate 6,194 square foot portion of unimproved City of Kenner property between the right-of-way of Kenner Avenue and Lot 44-A-1 Centennial subdivision, and to provide for the preservation of access to all public utilities located within this portion of the city-owned property. Item 16B is an ordinance approving the plan of re-subdivision of Lot D-1A and B-1-A1-4 into lots D-1A-1, D-1A-2, and B-1-A1-5, Canesboro subdivision, Kenner, Louisiana. Item 16C is an ordinance levying the annual tax millage rates for the year 2025 totaling 28 1/16 mils on the dollar of the assessed valuation of all taxable property within the corporate limits of the City of Kenner, Louisiana on the 2025 tax roll. Please be advised, in accordance with state law, that the public hearing for final adoption of the millages will be held on Thursday, April 10th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. here in the council chambers. Item 16D is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from MES Service Company, LLC, to supply rain gear as needed in accordance with electronic bid 25-2155 and an amount not to exceed $20,000 annually for the General Services Department. Item 16E is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Pilot Construction and Maintenance Incorporated to remove, furnish, and install 2 fountains at Kenner City Park in accordance with electronic bid 25-2158 and an amount not to exceed $39,200 for the General Services Department. Item 16F is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Roofing Solutions, LLC, for Fassbender Community Center roof repairs in accordance with seal bid 25-6860 and an amount not to exceed $116,724 for the General Services Department. Item 16G is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Trantex Transportation Products of Texas Incorporated to supply sign poles, brackets, and miscellaneous sign supplies in accordance with seal bid 25-6866 and an amount not to exceed $80,000 annually for the General Services Department. Item 16H is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Vulcan Incorporated, doing business as Vulcan Signs, to supply aluminum sheet and sign blanks as needed in accordance with electronic bid 25-2156 and an amount not to exceed $40,000 annually for the General Services Department. Item 16I is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Beverly Construction Company, LLC, to supply batcher, dirt, and sand on an as-needed basis in accordance with seal bid 25-6870 and an amount not to exceed $400,000 annually for the Public Works Department. Item 16J is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Carlo Detta, LLC, to supply ready-mix concrete as needed in accordance with seal bid number 2-6862 and an amount not to exceed $75,000 annually for the Public Works Department. Item 16K is an ordinance approving amendment number 5 to the engineering agreement with Digital Engineering and Imaging Incorporated dated March 22nd, 2019 regarding Loyola Drive and I-10 interchange connection to the new terminal of the New Orleans International Airport, state project number H.011670, federal aid project number H011670, City of Kenner project number PW-2019-4-AR to increase the not to exceed amount by $25,000 for a new not to exceed amount of $428,000 and to extend the life of the agreement. Item 16L is an ordinance approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with the State of Louisiana Facility Planning and Control, FP&C project number 50-MF1-24-01 for the Roosevelt Boulevard improvements from Airline Drive to West Metairie Avenue, planning and construction in the amount of $645,500 for the Department of Public Works. Item 16M is an ordinance approving amendment number 1 to the agreement with Geographic Computer Technologies, LLC, to provide geographic information services, increasing the amount by $50,000 and extending the term of the agreement for the Public Works Department. Item 16N is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Madden Gulf Coast, LLC, to supply asphaltic paving materials on an as-needed basis in accordance with seal bid number 25-6864 in an amount not to exceed $100,000 annually for the Public Works Department. Item 16O is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Monopoly Rental Properties to supply masonry supplies on an as-needed basis in accordance with seal bid number 25-6863 and an amount not to exceed $75,000 annually for the Public Works Department. Item 16P is an ordinance approving amendment number 2 to the engineering agreement with MSMM Engineering, LLC, to increase the resident inspection not to exceed amount of the agreement associated with the wastewater treatment plant number 3, clarifiers 1 through 4 rehabilitation project by $95,000 for the Department of Wastewater. Item 16Q is an ordinance authorizing the utilization of existing state contract number 44000300826 with W.W. Granger Incorporated for the purpose of industrial maintenance, repair, and operational MRO supplies on an as-needed basis in an amount not to exceed $150,000 annually for the Public Works Department. Item 16R is an ordinance approving renewal number 1 to the agreement with Waste Pro of Louisiana Incorporated to provide a 20-yard open container with roll tarp cover for waste tire processing services for the Public Works Department. Item 16S is an ordinance approving amendment number 5 to the agreement with ITS Regional LLC dated July 3, 2018 for traffic engineering related services on an as-needed basis to increase the not-to-exceed amount by $30,000 for the Public Works Department. Item 16T is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from EBE Fence Company Incorporated to furnish and install fencing as needed citywide in accordance with seal bid number 24-6859 and an amount not to exceed $250,000 annually for the Parks and Recreation Department. Item 16U is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from PCV Construction LLC to remove, furnish, and install rear set doors at Buddy Lawson Gym in accordance with electronic bid 25-2157 in an amount not to exceed $7,435 for the Parks and Recreation Department. Item 16V is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from CDX Construction LLC for the restroom facility at Buddy Lawson Playground in accordance with seal bid 25-6861 in an amount not to exceed $370,000 for the Parks and Recreation Department. Item 16W is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid to provide grass cutting in accordance with seal bid 25-6877 in an amount not to exceed $450,000 annually for the Department of Public Works. Item 17 is reports from the council and/or special committees. Councilman McKinney?
Yes, thank you. I just want to recognize over the holidays, the Mardi Gras holidays, and specifically on Lundi Gras, the Public Works Department, we had a request from one of the citizens, and Christine Calamari, who I believe is in the audience, actually went out herself and cleaned the drain after a resident called. So I just wanted to give her thank you for her efforts and thank you for going out there on our own time in the evening to make sure that that the street did not flood due to the weather. So I wanted just to, obviously I appreciate all of the Public Works Department, but Christine went above and beyond, so thank you.
I just wanted to give an update. Chief Conley and I met with Constable Ural and Judge Centeni on the litter stuff that we had talked about last meeting, where people are emptying ashtrays at intersections and throwing trash out the window of cars. Just to let y'all know that we are working on what we need to do to get this executed. Chief, did you have anything you want to add?
No, and we do have a meeting with Lieutenant Governor coming out to identify some potential funding, because as we all know, that's one of his big issues. I do want to thank the administration and the city attorney for also giving us some guidance as far as some of the state statutes that we can actually use as a tool for this purpose. But thank you, Councilman. I think this is going to go a lot quicker than we thought at first, given there's already some things in place, and with some insight with Lieutenant Governor, I think it'll be expedited even more.
Thanks, Chief.
Also, both chiefs there. I'd like to commend both y'all. Mardi Gras season is just about over with. I think we got a couple more parades in, and it was very successful. No major incidences. Everyone handled themselves professionally, and it went off, I thought it was very well. Mardi Gras, parades, everything. Congratulations, kudos to all our first responders.
And I do want to also thank the fire department as well as Public Works in the city, because as you know, since January 1st, everything's had a different flavor for preparation. So with the use of Public Works and some of the other equipment in the fire department, we pulled off ISIS, Driftwood, and even Mardi Gras with no incident, and we made sure that we were prepared the best we could. We fortified the routes, and anywhere there's pedestrians, and it was a good trial run, and I'm very satisfied with the way it went, but it couldn't be done without everybody working together towards that goal. So thank y'all.
Yeah, it was a whole team effort. I mean, every agency within the city, the administration, directors, first responders, everything. It was fantastic. I think we did a very good job this year. Misty?
Yeah, I just want to ask the chief about one little thing that people kept telling me to look in the sky, and we were looking at drones. I didn't know that Kenner had drones. I thought that was
Yeah, so
awesome.
that's the newest tool in technology in law enforcement that, it's a multiplier to your workforce. We used it in Driftwood, we used it at ISIS, and of course we used it for Mardi Gras. It gives the officers really a chance to see where there might be a breach in the fortification of a route, or where there's something of concern. So we do have an officer, or 2 or 3 officers that they're certified pilots, and then we do have officers that monitor the activity of the drones and what they're picking up through video surveillance. So it's become a tool. We're going to keep increasing our equipment as far as the drones go, because we do use them on every day of surveillances, and even if it's just basic traffic concerns, a drone can get there a lot quicker than a unit, and a lot of times we can take care of an issue without even having an officer go out there. So you'll be seeing more and more of them throughout Kenner.
Item 18 is new business. We have none. Item 19 is unfinished business and/or motions to reconsider or remove from a tabled position. We have none. Item 20 is persons wishing to address the council on special subject matters.
Mr. Greg Taft, sir, please take the podium.
Greg Taft, 5th District. I just want to bring up, at the last council meeting, I had asked that what the plan was to upgrade the waste department's equipment and lines and what have you, and I didn't hear anything today about that. And I'm concerned because all I keep seeing is repair, 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 and it reminds me of a dog chasing their tail, never catching it. All we're doing is spending money that we don't need to spend, and I like to see, and the citizens of Kenner would like to see a plan that says in 5 years we should be able to accomplish this, and then in 10 years we should be able to have this accomplished, whether it be 30, 40% of the equipment that we are currently running, the generators and what have you. But nothing came up, and I asked for it, and the citizens are actually looking for it, because to them it's important, because you raised our waste cost. It's on our water bill, and so far all we keep seeing is we're repairing broken equipment, and it shouldn't be that way. We should be able to start migrating new equipment in there and new lines in there, so we don't continue to keep throwing good money after bad. And I also wanted to also bring up that I thought the first responders did a great job during the parades. There was a lot of commotion. Luckily, we didn't get what New Orleans was getting, but it looked like they got it all together, and everything was safe. And And I think that's important because if we want to promote Kenner, the best way to promote is promote it as a safe city to live in. And that means a lot to a lot of people, especially families that's got children. And that's all. I just hope that the next council meeting, you can address this waste issue, because it just looks like we're just spinning our wheels and we're taking more money out of the citizens' pocket, and we're not, and the citizens are really not getting anything in return. Thank you.
All right, I guess I have to probably say this. Joanne, you got the list. There is a plan in place. We have, if you listen to some of the stuff today, 13A is a resolution requesting support for money, federal monies to replace a lot of the system is broke. It would take about, I guess, 150 million to probably bring it up to today's standards. So that's pretty much it. I think today I just made a decision on 2 more lift stations repairing it. We have 30-something we know that need to be redone now to the tune of about $2.5 million each. So that's the problem. There is no funding source. The raise that in your rates is not going to do anything but keep putting a Band-Aid on it unless you have a large influx of money to revamp this whole system. The $4 million for the clarifiers should have been done 10 years ago. You know, this sewage treatment plant is pretty much been Band-Aided now for a good 15 years. And when you replace something today, in 15 years it will have to be replaced again because of the environment that it's in. So that's kind of, there is a plan in place. If you want to see it, Joanne has it. I mean, it's a lot of money. That's the problem.
Correct. Sir, would y'all like me to read the projects? Okay. Okay. So the recently completed projects was the 43rd and California lift station force main replacement. That services District 3, and it was replaced from Vintage all the way to Chateau Transfer Station. The projects that are under construction right now are the clarifiers at Plant 3, 1 through 4. Those were the original clarifiers when the plant was built in 1986. Those are under refurbishment right now. All of the equipment on the inside of the tanks are being replaced. That should be finished August of this year. We just started the 42nd and Lake Trail and 31st and Loyola sewer lift station projects. 31st and Loyola is going to get, the lift station is going to be rehab but new equipment, and the 42nd and Lake Trail lift station is going to be removed, and it's going to just have a gravity line. There was a station there, but they're going to have a gravity line just from the station. It'll become a manhole and go half a block and go into the system. Right now, we're the Bainbridge project that the mayor said at the beginning of the meeting, that's being paid by Jefferson Parish, and the city of Kenner is getting a new sewer lift station for that project. That's being paid by Jefferson Parish. Right now, we're bidding out the 4MGD lift station. That's the lift station that's at West Esplanade by the Wood Lake Gym that services all of District 5. The 27th and Salem sewer lift stations and 25th and Helena sewer lift stations, these are on the canal bank, and they're being moved to the end of the street, so it's going to be a brand new stations for those, and that's under design. They're at 95% design. We're getting ready to bid on the 24th and Delaware lift station and the Chateau Transfer Station improvements. The St. Jude is, we're still trying to obtain property for this new lift station. So that's still in the property negotiation, and then it'll begin design. And then, as the mayor said, we have 26 lift stations that we have on a priority list, but the funding to have all those redone would be at $37,600,000, and that cost includes design, supplementary services, construction, resident inspection, and testing. And then for the plant, we have 7 projects right now. The belt press improvements, that's the solids handling, the sludge that we take out the plant and dewater to go to the landfill. The RAS pump station, that's a return activated sludge station. So that's a station, the plant was built in 1986, and this is the original station from when it was built. So they're going to do improvements to that. Aeration, we wanted a safe house, and so right now we have one brick building on the site. All the rest are metal buildings, so we need a place because the operators, we have to be there 24 hours during any type of storm event, so we would need that. Also, the digester units, there's not enough digester units. We have 4. Those were the original built in 1986. The plant has been upgraded from 5.25 MGD to 15.2 million gallons per day. That's MGD, I'm sorry. So we need more digester space, so that's also on our priority list. Improvements to clarifiers 5 and 6, and sludge digester improvements. That would be to put aeration, because we have floating aerators, which is old technology, and we would like to put diffused air inside of the digesters. So for those 7 projects, the total cost, including, this was based on an evaluation that was done in 2019, 2020, when the city took back the wastewater department, with the CPI increases and construction cost and design and resident inspection. That's a total of $33,239,603. So 5 of these projects is what 13A was asking for the funding for this. So that's the problem. It's not that we don't want to do these projects. It's just the city does not have enough money to do these projects, and that's why we're looking. We try to go out for low interest loans from the DEQ, Department of Environmental Quality, or grants from different different entities, like the 4MGD. We got a $4 million water sector grant to pay for that project. So that's what we're trying to do to be able to do that. But yes, with the low, the state is helping with the low interest loans. So yes, so that's what. No. Well, no. The DEQ, they help with the fund by the low interest loans. We qualify. We're able to qualify that, and it's a loan with a 2% interest rate. So you can't really, beat that. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Well, I made a presentation on June 6th of last year, Kenner Sewer Infrastructure. Critical plan to stabilize our wastewater system, rate studies and everything. This has been going on, since I've been in this office, and realized that the system is pretty much on the brink of collapse. So that's kind of, you Band-Aid this stuff. Look, we don't have to do emergency purchases if y'all want to tell your residents they can't use their toilets and any kind of wastewater stuff. So we've had presentations and all this stuff. So it should have been done. He should have been here 4 years ago asking the same questions. What you doing for me now? That's what he should have been here for.
It's tough to proceed when you don't have the money. It's just can't go forward. We're doing what we can. At this point, I hate to say this, but you got to trust us. We're doing the best that we can with the little funds that we have. When the funds become available, we'll do what we can do. It's just tough, and that's not only for the wastewater, but that's for all the departments, whether it's public works, field services, recreation. We're doing what we can with the few dollars that we have. Anybody else want to address? Meeting adjourned.